The human population drinks 5.2 billion gallons of water every day and eats 21 billion pounds of food. But just the world's 1.5 billion cows alone drink 45 billion gallons of water every day and eat 135 billion pounds of food. This isn't so much a human population issue, it's a human eating animals population issue. Environmental organizations not addressing this is like health organizations trying to stop lung cancer without addressing cigarette smoking. But instead of secondhand smoking, it's secondhand eating, which affects the entire planet.
We're growing enough food right now in the world to feed between 12 and 15 billion people. We only have 7 billion people. We have roughly a billion people starving every single day. Worldwide, 50% of the grain and legumes that we're growing, we're feeding to animals. So they're eating huge amounts of grain and legumes. And in the United States, it's more like closer to 70, 80, depending on which grain it is, 90, about 90% of the soybeans.
82% of the world's starving children live in countries where food is fed to animals in the livestock systems that are then killed and eaten by more well-off individuals in developed countries such as the US, UK, and in Europe.
The fact of it is that we could feed every human being on the planet today an adequate diet if we did no more than take the feed that we are feeding to animals and actually turn it into food for humans. And so somebody trying to justify GMOs, that's like trying to give a drowning man a drink of water.
You can produce, on average, 15 times more protein from plant-based sources than from meat on any given area of land, whether it's using the same type of land, whether it's a very fertile area in one area of the world or it's an area that's depleted.
If we would reduce the amount of meat we're eating and dairy and eggs, we could allow all these monocropped fields of genetically engineered corn and soybeans to revert back to forest again, to be habitat for animals.
You know, anytime somebody tells you that we can't grow food for humans on the land that we're growing feed for animals, this is somebody that is smoking the #1 crop out of California. The fact of it is, if you can grow corn to stuff down the throat of an animal, you can actually grow corn and feed it to a human.
You encourage people to eat less meat and for the tremendous resources required and the toll on the environment.
And on the animals.
And on the animals.
And the workers in the system. And it's a brutal system at every level.
As the world population continues to grow to almost 9 billion people, do you foresee someday that we might just completely have to stop eating meat altogether?
I don't know that we'll completely stop. I think that the amount of meat eaten will decline. There's no way to support 9 ounces per person per day, which is what Americans are eating now. If the Chinese alone decide they want to eat that much, and they've decided they want to eat that much, we just can't. We don't have enough world to produce the grain to generate that much meat. I think a plant-based diet is the most sustainable.